So is the West running out of ways to sanction Russia then? Liana Fix is a program director at the Kerber Foundation, a German international affairs think tank, and she joins us now from Berlin. Thanks for joining us. We heard from the head of NATO yesterday describing the challenges of getting involved, more involved militarily, because it would set up a wider conflict. So they are very much focusing on sanctions. Where do you expect those sanctions to appear next?
We will see the European Union going down the road of energy sanctions. And the important part of the EU proposal now to start with coal sanction is not that coal sanctions are actually that significant, but that it is a first step towards further energy sanctions on Russia. The problem is that, especially in Germany, the timelines that are now announced for phasing out Russian oil and gas don't overlap with the timelines that Ukraine has at hand. Ukraine's timelines are weeks. Germany's timelines for phasing out oil and gas are now until 2024 for Russian gas. So there we need to speed up to make this entry into energy sanctions something which really puts on pressure on Moscow and improves Ukraine's negotiation and fighting position.
But German politicians are obviously going to grapple with the idea that running out of fuel in the country would have a wide impact within Germany, for example, as the powerhouse of Europe. And that's why they're talking about these timelines. And they just can't give Ukraine what they want in terms of timelines, can they?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a discussion going on what kind of economic scenario is actually realistic. So there's this very dark scenario of Germany and Europe plunging into a recession, with many people losing their jobs as a consequence of getting into these sanctions. There are also gradual models that can be applied. But then there's also the other side who argue, well, our security interests, our long-term security interests are more important than the short-term economic interests. So we have to think creatively about how we can start getting into the process, even if it's not an immediate oil and gas embargo. And this is the debate that is taking place right now.
There's also talk about more sanctions on individuals. Lots of speculation that Putin's daughters could be sanctioned. We don't even have much confirmation about who they are, where they are, how many children, in fact, he does have. But would that be a powerful way of punishing Putin?
Yeah, punishing family members is something which has not been done in sanctions regimes in the past. So this is the first time that family members are also included. We do see from reactions of other family members of Putin's elite that this is painful. It does hurt. But then it is not significant enough to really sort of create that pressure that is needed to change the course of war. I think they're the two instruments that we have at hand, that the EU has at hand, are really, EU and NATO have at hand, are really sanctions and then weapon deliveries on the other side. Secretary Stoltenberg has already announced that NATO will have to think about heavier weapons, especially if we are now in the process of Russia regrouping and perhaps again attacking. And this is something which the big member states in the EU and NATO will have to consider, how to move from light weapon deliveries to heavy weapon deliveries.
Can I ask you what you thought of Zelensky's appearance in front of the UN Security Council yesterday? He had a pretty good point, didn't he, when he said it's inept currently because you've got a veto from Russia, but they're making decisions about a war, and the perpetrator of that war is on the council. So it is effectively, in this situation, defunct, isn't it?
It is, and unfortunately, the UN has not played a major role in this war, in this broader conflict at all so far. The same applies to the OSCE, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, which was created for the aim to provide stability, including Russia, on the European continent. And this weakness of institutions that we see right now, that it's really about states, nation states trying to make decisions, and basically also about NATO as a military alliance playing a role here. This is something which is disturbing because it means for the global governance, for the future of how the world is governed, and one that if one major power becomes a incredibly destructive actor all these institutions are paralyzed and are almost not able to act decisively.